If you told me that you were so busy, so incredibly busy, that you couldn't do one more thing, not fit in one more thing into your life or your day, and all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, bam, you got shot in the leg, would your priorities list change? Would the idea that you couldn't do anything else change? Yes. Why? Because all of a sudden your priorities would change. Things that were terribly, terribly important only a minute ago were not quite so important now. Things that are at the top of your list to be done or to do, or they'd be hell to pay, are now not quite so important. Getting your leg taken care of would be the most important thing to you. See, our whole idea of being stressed, our whole idea of being tense, anxious, is learned. It's really not the result of the things that we have to do or the things that we're going through. It's a learned thing. See, if there's 10 people in your office or 10 people at your house or 10 people in the workplace, wherever, and 9 of them are tearing their hair out doing X amount of work, and say they're going crazy and looking a little wild-eyed, and yet you, number 10, doing the same X amount of work, have learned to calm yourself, have learned to center yourself, have learned to prioritize things. And where everyone else is tearing their hair out and going crazy, you have this great, calm, confident composure. Guess what happens when more work comes in? Are they going to give it to the 9 people, bug-eyed and going crazy and tearing their hair out? No. You're going to get it because you look under-stressed. You look like you could handle more work. And so you learn not to be confident, not to be centered. Because all those things mean that you'll be the person that's pointed to as the person that either doesn't understand what's going on, or the person who is obviously doesn't have enough to do. You've learned to be stressful. See, all those things that you thought were stressful, all those things that were stressing you out, when you got shot in the leg, they weren't there anymore. The stress wasn't surrounding them anymore. The stress was now surrounding getting your leg fixed. So those things didn't have stress of part of their being. They had stress as part of your dressing. You dressed them in stress. You reacted in stress to them. Their own nature. A piece of work, a document, housework, lifting a wheelbarrow, these things don't have stress attached to them. It's we who put the stress on them. And it's unnecessary. It's completely and totally unnecessary. So what's the answer? How do we de-stress? You de-stress by making priorities. But more important, before you do anything, before you attempt a project, before you attempt housework, before you attempt changing the baby, before you attempt speaking, flying, driving, building, drawing, writing, before you do anything, if you will just stop, and it only takes a moment, if you'll just stop for a moment and say, what is the healthiest way that I can do this? What is the healthiest way that I can do this? Do I need to eat first? Do I need to put this at the top of my list, the bottom of my list? Is this something I wish to tackle now? Is this something that I'm anxious over that I have to come to peace with? Am I doing this in the wrong way? Am I doing this out of anger? Am I doing this out of problems with my self-esteem? Am I doing this because I couldn't say no? Once you find the healthiest way to do something, then you proceed. And by its very nature, it can't be a detriment to you. Now, when I talked before about de-stressing, it was about prioritizing. See, we all have to-do lists, or at least most of us have to-do lists. That's not the problem. The problem is our to-do list isn't prioritized. By all means, make a to-do list. That's a plan. That's a plan of action. Make a to-do list. Write down everything that you need to do, short-term, long-term. But be sure that you put a number next to each one of those. Either that or they all share the same importance, and you'll quickly feel overwhelmed. Because you may do 2 big things on your list, but leave 11 small things undone, and realize only 2 of 11 things got done today, and feel quite bad, quite stressed, quite overwhelmed. Unnecessary. Prioritize your list. Put a number on each of the things that you have to do. A level of importance would help also. But that's going to fit into your numbering system. Put that down. Put it down in paper. Carry it with you. Refer to it. And realize that, yes, there are priorities in my life. And this is the way I wish to do things. Now, another important, very important, understanding about your list. At the end of the day or the end of the week or the month of the year or whatever it is, that you look at your list and see what wasn't done. Stay out of the drama. It's a list, for God's sakes. It has no emotion attached to it. You got some things done, you didn't do others. Some things worked out, some didn't. There's no need to celebrate all the things that got done. And there's no need to cry about the things that didn't. It's a list. Just a guideline. A set of priorities that, if you were shot in the leg, would change. But things that you get to, things that took more time, less time, it's just guideposts for you. It's just guide railings. And you just stay between those guideposts, those railings. And you do the best you possibly can. And every night or whenever you look at your list, first you say, I did this in the healthiest way. And I gave it my best. Tomorrow's another day. I shall prioritize my list for tomorrow. I shall stay out of the drama. I shall stay out of the anxiety. For the idea of my happiness is up to me. There is a dial, a metaphorical dial in my life with happiness on it from minimum to maximum. No one else can turn that dial but me. Tomorrow I'm going for maximum happiness. It's my dial, my life, my happiness. And when I get that happy, or even a little bit happy, I will change my world because I'll be adding happiness to it. I will change the life of everyone I come into contact with because I'll be sharing my happiness with them and not my tension, not my anxiety.